friend of mine who's running the British Film Institute department of audiences. And he says to me that, to everybody, that the film has to have a purpose. The film has an audience, and you have to know that audience. Or on the opposite, the audience wish to have this kind of film or something like that. So the purpose of the film is getting more and more important. You can't just release a film and say, this is the best French film made last year. We didn't know with the film. The film critics of France said that this film, Pierre Aimé Courir Vite, was the best film. But no one turns up to see it because they don't relate to it. So you have to find the films that people relate to and pick them. I think that's getting more and more important.
You mean you need to be an anthropologist?
No, but it has something to do with your upbringing and your education and so on. That are things you, like for instance, the film Loving Vincent, about Vincent van Gogh, the Polish animation film. I would very much like to take that film in distribution, but I decided to screen it at the festival first and see how people reacted. And in the meantime, somebody else bought it. And it did very well at the festival, and it did very well in cinema, because people could relate to Vincent van Gogh. So that's a very good example. And there's a very silly example also, the film Stalin's Death of Stalin. We watched part of it and we thought it was ridiculous, not good at all, even though I know the director, has been my guest. But we said, no way, this film is not good enough. And somebody else bought it and put it in cinema, and the film critics said, this is a wonderful film. And it wasn't. But people turned up because, it's a film about Stalin. So that's what I mean with relate to something you already have some relationship to.
Yeah. I just want to comment on that. I think you're totally right that you can't just bring in a film and then hope that people will come and see it. But I also think that it's not totally right to say that you have to find the audience or it has to be an audience there. I think you can also create an audience. And if you have a film that you really love and you think it's great, I think more people will love this film. But then maybe you have to help them to be able to relate to the film, and finding what can we do to make people see this film anyway and to relate to it, as you said, because of course you have to relate to it, otherwise there's so many things in the world going on all the time, and why should you choose this film that you don't have any kind of connection to? But by kind of bringing in other elements or events or things like that, I think you can create the audience for any film you like.
Yeah, I think I agree, because otherwise we wouldn't survive with what we're doing. But I think it's also about deciding where you are and who you are, because either you are part of a food chain and you make films for the industry to put them into some places that you know that will be accepted, and you just put it like a food industry, food chain, production, festival, training, festival, promotion, and so on. Or you're out of the food chain, and then it's of course more difficult, but that's also more important. So, and that's probably many films that we work with. And it's films that are not made for many audiences, and that's also the question, does art exist without audience, blah blah, but these films exist, and they're demanding, and there is also a small demanding audience, so we try to look for that, of course. But I think it's about, I don't think there's a rule. It's about understanding yourself and whether you're doing the films because of what? What kind of reason, right? And making money is always difficult with art, and defining, whenever I talk with producers, it's about what is the success for you. I mean, what is it? Is it the money, or how much money, or how many people? Is it everything? Is it, do you want to change the world? Do you want to, like, you know, many producers just say, I want to make my director happy. that's also success. So for me, it's always a search. We work with very demanding films, with very difficult films. Audiences exist for that, but we always have to develop a new way for each of these films. And it's about combining all of them at a certain time. It's about thinking of ways of how to specifically communicate this film. I think the way how we reach out to audiences are even more and more visual all the time. So we invested thousands and thousands of euros last year into digital marketing, and then realized that actually the largest conversions come from our Facebook and newsletter, something that we have been doing for 12 years. So it's about how you narrate, the narrative you put the films into, and how you communicate it, and with which kind of visual parts you do it, and so on.
Well, I think we are experimenting all the time. I mean, we are all the time going in the new stuff. Now, for the first time, we work with the PR company from outside, because before we had the PR in the company. It's working for the salary. Now we took someone from the outside, because they can perceive what we are doing from a different point of view. And they started to come up with the campaigns and small Facebook things, a lot that we would not think of. They get the film, they take the small excerpts, and then they launch the campaign completely different way than we would be. I'm too much into the film and into the documentary to realize, to relate completely about the audience. So now, I mean, we just started, it's the first month now. I will tell you next year how it was. But we are experimenting. If it doesn't go this way, let's try that way. If this cinema doesn't want to film, when we are convincing them to make a small review or small documentary film festival that lasts 3 days, doesn't matter, just screen the films. So I mean, we are testing ourselves and improvising a lot. I mean, 4 people for now live from Europe.
So I wanted to make one last comment. Now we are also, so an example of combining offline with online distribution. Kinodoc will also have an online component, thanks to Diana and DA Films. Like a lot of the Kinodoc films from previous years will be available online starting from this year. And also like on our website and on the DA Films website. And so it's going to be like, we're trying also a new model where we combine live screenings with the online and hopefully reach out to more audience like this. So thank you very much.
Just one comment. I had a film at my festival, which is also here, called 3 Identical Strangers. It's a British-American film, but it's really a British director. And when I saw that film in Sundance, and I worked with the festival, and I told all the volunteers, come to see this film for free 2 weeks before the festival. And there was a lot of people, volunteers, watching it. And they spread a rumor about this film. And we had 4 full screenings. And you have to see it. It's called 3 Identical Strangers. It's really fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for what you're doing. And for being here and come back.